Thailand, Pattaya, bar girls, and a dull life back in my country, it's just a cocktail of regret waiting to happen. My story starts off like many others do. Single man, bored in my home country, looking for some excitement and being told to give Thailand a try. And when I say bored, I mean extremely bored. I am a school teacher in Norway. When I'm not at work, I'm working at home. I literally had no social life at all. Although I've always been interested in Thailand, Pattaya to be specific, and listened to all the stories on your channel, I still had never found the chance to go. That was until around last Christmas. I had 3 weeks off and I finally took the chance to go to Thailand for the whole 3 weeks. Originally, I was going to go to Bangkok for 2 weeks, then Pattaya for a few days until returning back to Bangkok to fly home. Doing my research, I found there are a lot of unwritten rules about Thailand when it comes to Thai girls. And this is my story about how I broke the 3-day rule and what happened after that. So, let's begin where I land in Bangkok and spend 2 nights around Soi 4 and I think Soi 21. There are some good bars along them sois, but the quality of ladies working there wasn't exactly something I was looking for. They all seemed a bit too old for me. They were fun to be around, but that's about it. I felt like I was wasting my money sitting drinking with these girls I had no interest in. So I changed my plans. I decided to forget Bangkok after 2 days and go straight to Pattaya for the rest of my trip. I decided this around 10 p.m. at night while I was lying in my bed, contemplating whether to go out in Bangkok or not. The stories people had told me about Thailand sound a lot more interesting than what I was experiencing. I packed all my stuff together, checked out the hotel, and took off in a grab straight for Pattaya. The trip took longer than I expected, and by the time I got there, it was early in the morning. I didn't have a hotel booked, and I wasn't in the mood to search for anything fancy. I just needed a place to sleep. So I found the cheapest hotel room I could find, dropped my bag on the floor, and pretty much passed out as soon as I hit the bed. The next morning, I'm lying in this dump of a room thinking I really need to find a better place. I ended up finding a decent place that wasn't too far from Walking Street and the beach. That would easily do me. When it got dark, I went out to see what all the hype was about. I ended up chatting with these older guys at one of the bars on Beach Road, the expats who had been living here forever. They were a friendly bunch of guys and had a lot of stories to tell first-timers like me. They gave me some words of wisdom about meeting girls. Listen, if you want to meet normal girls, not just bar girls, get on Thai friendly. I had heard some stories previously about Thai friendly, and none of them really ended up good. From girls using pictures of other girls on their profile, to some girls not actually being girls. But I thought, what is the worst that could happen? So I downloaded the app. Worst case scenario, I'd get some funny story out of it. The next day, I texted a few girls from the app. Most ignored me or replied with boring crap, or how much I needed to pay for a meetup. But one of them said yeah, she'd be happy to meet up. She said she would be going out with her friends after work and told me to come by some club on Walking Street around midnight. And that was it. No long talks, no maybe, just be there and a location. The club was packed when I showed up, but I saw her immediately. This tiny Thai girl laughing with a group near the bar. 3 other girls and some foreign guy who looked about as lost as I felt. I am 37. I don't consider myself old, but I still felt old in there. Most people looked like they were in their early 20s or something. I walked over and said, "Hey, are you the girl from Thai Friendly?" She smiled and yanked me into her group before I could even say anything. It felt so awkward, as I was just standing there while they were all laughing and speaking in Thai. But whatever, it could have been a lot worse. At least she was who she said she was. We drank together, but the music was so loud, so me and her didn't do much talking, just stood next to each other. I'd occasionally attempt to talk to her, but I don't know if it was because of the music or she just didn't understand me, but the conversation was pretty much dead. When her friends left, she said that she was leaving now and offered to come to my place tomorrow. As we hadn't spoken much or gotten to know each other, I figured she was just trying to be polite, but I gave her the name of my hotel just in case. The next morning, I'm getting coffee in the lobby, still half asleep, and there she is. No text, no warning, just showed up in tight jeans and a tank top, looking at me like I was the one who'd surprised her. When I asked her why she didn't message me, she claimed that she was staying at her friend's place not far from the hotel and was going to call me when she got to the lobby, but she had only just arrived when I saw her. I took her upstairs, where she flopped on my bed and took over the remote for the TV. We spent the whole day like that, ordering grab, watching terrible Thai soap operas, her feet in my lap while she explained all the drama between commercials. We never left the room once. That night, we went out and met up with her friends again at the nightclub on Walking Street. Same faces, the loud girls, and that one guy who kept glaring at me. I figured he was dating one of them, or he wanted to, the way he hovered around like a security guard. He was one of those Farangs you see in Thailand that act a bit too big for their boots, like they're some big, special meathead that could take on the world. We drank the whole night, dancing and having fun, with me, of course, paying for everything. But I was getting extremely tired though. These younger people have way more energy than me. So I told her I was going to go back to the hotel. I said straight up I wanted to see her again tomorrow. When she nodded, I tried my luck, asked if she wanted to keep drinking back at my place tonight. She hit me with the classic, "I go with my sister." Every guy in Thailand's heard that one before. I didn't argue though, I just said, "Okay, that's fine. Text me if you get free." I was hoping to see her one more time, so I'd be within the famous 3-day rule and not breaking it. On the way back to the hotel, a bar girl in one of the bars did catch my eye, so I thought I'd just have one more for the road. She was absolutely beautiful, but when she came to sit with me, she did not speak a word of English, which is pretty unfortunate because she was amazing. So I drank my drink, gave her a tip, and off I went back to the hotel. 2 hours later, I'm lying in bed with the room spinning and my phone rings. She's in the lobby, claiming she is too smashed to ride her bike home, but even though her friend apparently lives close to my hotel, she decided to come to me instead. Of course, I played the gentleman and invited her up to my room. As soon as we walked in, she dove under the covers with all of her clothes on, rolled herself up tight like a spring roll, and was out cold before I even turned off the lights. It left me lying there, staring at the ceiling, wondering what the hell I was doing. The next morning, I woke up hearing the door close. It turns out she had already woken up and gone to 7-Eleven to pick up some breakfast for me. So that morning, we spent half of it watching TV and half of it playing around with each other. She turned into some sweet, innocent type of girl. Not really what I expected from a girl who partied on Walking Street. I realised then I knew absolutely nothing about her. A name starting with W, she was 23, said she was finishing some degree and worked front desk at a Jomtien resort. Could have been all lies for all I know, but her student ID in the wallet looked pretty legit. The rest of the 2 weeks, the 3-day rule went out of the window, and I pretty much stayed with her every day and every night. Partying hard at night and then lying in bed like zombies in the day. It doesn't sound very glamorous, I know, but for me, it was amazing. Then, with 2 days left, she changed. Short texts, cancelled plans, started giving me that look people get when they are mentally already somewhere else. When she did show up, it was like dealing with a different person. She was checking her phone every 30 seconds, making excuses to leave early. Then she gets some call that sends her looking panicked. It was about sisters and friends waiting for her. Funny how that sister never appeared when I was around. I also caught her whispering in English to this so-called sister of hers. Since when do Thai sisters chat in English at midnight? My last night with her was a complete joke. She showed up late, clearly tipsy, stuck to her phone again, barely talking to me, and then left with some half-assed "see you tomorrow," even though I had told her that I was leaving for Bangkok the next day. I chucked my stuff in the bag the next morning and got a bolt to Bangkok. Flight wasn't for another day, but there was no reason for me to stick around anymore. It would have been nice to end things properly, but Pattaya doesn't do clean endings. I got back to Norway in January, cold and dull weather, all grey skies, and at work at the school, bored teenagers staring out the classroom windows. I was standing there lecturing while my brain was still a million miles away, replaying every stupid moment with a girl whose name I can't even pronounce. 3 weeks later, my phone lights up with a name I hadn't deleted yet. It was her, asking if I had really left Thailand. I replied, yes, I've been home for the last 3 weeks. I told you I was leaving, and that's why I wanted to spend more time with you. She said that she thought that I was only going to Bangkok for a bit and then return back to Pattaya to see her again. I believe this was an excuse. I gave her no reason to think that I was only visiting Bangkok and then returning. I think she just wanted to try and make out that she misunderstood. Either way, she asked for proof that I had already gone home to Norway and wasn't still in Bangkok. I sent her a picture of my depressing teacher's desk and the snow outside the window. She came back with, "You really left me," like I'd committed some kind of betrayal. I know she was just trying to make me feel sorry for her and make out it was my fault things ended the way they did, but I was honest about me leaving. It was classic manipulation from a woman that had partied with me for weeks and never once asked me when my flight was. It's funny how she suddenly cared after I was gone. Part of me wanted to believe she was genuinely upset that I left. Maybe she missed me. Maybe she was just bad at expressing it. But then I remembered the way she'd ghosted those last 2 days, already moving on, before I'd even packed my bags. Well, we fell right back into texting like nothing had happened, and it was fine for a while until the cracks started showing again. Every time she video called me, she'd pan the phone around and show me walking street. She always seemed to be at the same bar, always with the same friends laughing in the background. Every call, it was the same excuse. My friends work here, I just help out sometimes. I asked her point blank, "Are you a bar girl?" To which she denied and seemed angry with me asking. The more I questioned it, the more defensive she got. "Why you not trust me?" she said, like I was the one being unreasonable. But trust goes both ways, and nothing about her story added up. If she was just helping a friend, why was she there until 3 a.m. on a Tuesday? Why did everybody seem to know her name? And then there were the friends. Always the same group of girls in too much makeup. Foreign guys hovering around them, drinking with them. I'd hear them all in the background while she pretended she wasn't right in the middle of it. Maybe she wasn't working the bar, but she wasn't just some innocent girl on a night out either. One day, I saw on Facebook a picture of her with another man that turned out to be from Norway also. When I asked about him in the picture, she said they are just friends, swore she had only met him once. The way they were sitting together in the photo, her leaning into him with that same smile she used to give me, made me think it wasn't just a friend. But what could I say? I wasn't her boyfriend. I was just another Farang in her rotation at that point. Now, it could be quite believable that they could have been friends, and she may well have met him only once. But a couple of days later, on her birthday, it didn't seem that believable anymore. She had posted a video of her and her friends at some condo, and in the video, she was showing off her gifts on the table. Included in the chocolate, drinks, teddies, cards, and other gifts was some fancy necklace in a box with Norwegian writing on it and an Oslo jeweler's stamp. Funny present for someone she'd only met once. After all that only you talk, now there's jewelry arriving from other men. I asked how some random guy that she had just met once knew her birthday and why he bought her gold. I got the classic, "It's not mine, it's my friend's," like I was born yesterday. Stupidly enough, I carried on talking to her. I don't know why. Maybe it was feeling lonely in my gloomy country, or I was just missing Thailand. Either way, we carried on. The next bump in the road was she got let go from her hotel job. She claimed she did nothing wrong, but they didn't need her anymore. The story didn't quite add up. Hotels in Pattaya always need staff, especially someone who spoke decent English like she did. But I didn't push it. Maybe she messed up, maybe the manager wasn't nice. Whatever it was, she was suddenly jobless and telling me how hard it is for her to find work. Being the soft guy, or maybe the stupid guy that I am, I told her I'll give her 10,000 baht a week to help out until she finds another job. Looking back now, that was dumb. 10k is serious money in Thailand, especially each week. Way more than she'd be making at a hotel job. But I felt bad for her, so I fell for another unwritten Pattaya rule. Never send money to a girl you meet on holiday. Classic Farang mistake. Luckily for me, this only went on for about a month until she suddenly got a job at some mystery place on Soi Buakhao. She wouldn't say where, what hours, nothing. When I asked what kind of job, she'd just say hotel work and changed the subject. Soy Bacau is bar central. We both knew what that probably meant, but I chose to believe her when she said it was just a hotel. By then, I was in too deep to care, convincing myself it didn't even matter. I'd already spent months talking to her every day. The money wasn't breaking me, and it kept me connected to Thailand. Even if part of me knew the truth, it was easier to play along. I was still helping out financially, but now she had a job, I was only sending 5k and not 10k. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but I would say there's a 99% chance that she is working in a bar on Soy Bacau, and a 1% chance she is working in a restaurant or a hotel. She still went out constantly, but occasionally she'd stay in if I asked her. At first, it was like pulling teeth. She'd make excuses or promise to call me but never would. Then slowly started actually answering when I video called her at night. Sometimes she'd even be in her pajamas and not all dressed up to go out, or because she wanted to stay at home and talk to me. After a while, she did actually stop going out every night and would stay in just to talk to me. It started to feel like she was actually interested in being with me and wanted to change for the better. Fewer club photos on Facebook, more messages during the day. She'd even ask me about my day at work, something she never cared about before. Maybe I was getting through to her, or maybe she just realized steady money beats being a bar girl. Either way, I liked the new version of her. I took this as progress, and I figured things were solid enough to book another trip and go and see her again. Her yes came a little too fast. Before I could even finish saying, "I'm thinking of coming back," she was already asking for dates. Part of me wondered if she'd react the same if I'd said I was sending money instead. I flew to Bangkok and she met me at the airport. The taxi ride to the hotel was all hand-holding, kissing, and I miss yous. For a minute, I forgot all of the drama. This felt real and not some fantasy. We stayed in a nice hotel for one night and then headed to Pattaya. Not much to report on the first night in Thailand. We stayed in the room and did a lot of catching up. Grabbed food, drinks from 7-Eleven, and her actually listening when I talked about work back home. There was no rushing out to meet friends, no mysterious phone calls, it was just us. The trip actually surprised me. Her phone stayed in her bag, eyes actually on mine for once. No constant buzzing, no sneaky glances at the screen, like the girl I'd met months before had come back. I kept waiting for the act to drop, for her to start texting someone or make excuses to leave, but it never happened, not that I know of anyway. The only red flag was some Israeli guy's name flashing on her phone one time. Hebrew letters as clear as day. She said what she always says, just a friend. I let it go because I did not want to ruin what had been a good trip so far. It turns out I should have dug a little deeper then. She dragged me to see her friends again on Walking Street at the same club we had first met. I watched her slide behind the bar for 5 minutes to make drinks and laugh with the regulars by name. It was clear then that she actually worked there or had something to do with the bar. Other than that, the trip was good, and we were happy spending time together until I had to leave again. Those 2 weeks flew by faster than I wanted. Mornings, we would just sleep in. Afternoons, eating out. And nighttime, we would either go out partying or have a night in if we weren't feeling up for it. It felt like we were building something real, not just some holiday fling. At that point, she actually felt like my girlfriend. She came with me to Bangkok, and at the airport, there was this awkward moment where neither of us knew what to say. Just lots of see you soons and promises to keep calling every day. Back in Norway, the cold hit harder than usual. My apartment felt emptier, my routine more boring, but this time it was different. I had something to look forward to. She kept to her word too, video calling me from her room instead of the bars, and I started letting myself believe this could actually work. Of course, that's when things started going sideways again, as they normally do with Farang and Pattaya girl relationships. One night, she called me when she was at the bar. I could tell she was tipsy, and this drunk Farang took the phone off her. I got a brief look at his face, and it was the same Norwegian guy that was on her Facebook earlier. The next day, when she had sobered up, I asked her about it, and apparently he went into the club while she was still there and tried chatting her up. She claims he cried when I blocked him, and he promises just friends. Same script, different month. I wasn't stupid. Nobody weeps over a friend they met once, especially when it's the guy doing the weeping. I pressed her until the story changed. I told her straight, just be honest with me, and that I wouldn't be coming back to see her again or help her out financially if she didn't tell me the truth. At first, she got defensive. Why you don't trust me, and all of them lines. But when I stayed firm, I could practically see her breaking on video call, knowing that I wasn't believing her lies. And that's when the backpedaling started. Now, the story had changed. They'd met in the bar shortly before I had left the first time and hung out a few times, though apparently nothing happened. The way she said it, all casual like it was no big deal, made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. If nothing happened, why lie about it in the first place? She claimed that after I went back home and we started talking again, she had made it clear to him that she wasn't interested in anything and told him about me. I doubt that is true, but that's all I got out of her. I'm sure there's more to the story than what she is telling me. The way she got defensive about it all, how she couldn't quite look at the camera, it all screamed BS. But what could I do? And foolishly, I wasn't quite ready to walk away just yet. Then she wanted to come clean about the Israeli guy that had been messaging her on my second trip there. Maybe she thought it made her look honest by coming clean about everything, or maybe she was testing how much I'd put up with. Either way, I was ready to listen to it. They met in Pattaya while he was on a trip away from his family that lives in Chiang Mai. He's married with kids, but that doesn't seem to bother him playing around. Married guy sneaks off for some fun in Pattaya, pretends his wife doesn't exist, but really, she shouldn't act like he was the shady one, like she wasn't the one entertaining a married man. She claims he is rich and was just going to use him as a sugar daddy or something, but she said she didn't feel right after he started sending her money in case his wife found out. Pieces started fitting because later she suddenly had enough money for a nose job, the latest iPhone, and lots of jewelry, all on a bar work salary or whatever it is she actually does for a living. She claims now she's working at a different hotel. But I'm sure a hotel receptionist salary in Thailand is not good enough to buy all the things that she is getting. The final nail was when our one Facebook photo vanished and her friends list went private. I already have a ticket back to Thailand, where I planned on spending another trip with her, but now every question I ask, she will dodge it, and every answer she gives me, it just feels rehearsed. We still talk, but not like we used to. She says that she has been honest with me about everything and wants me to take a chance with her, but I feel like I'll just get there and something else will come up, another problem. The phone calls are shorter now, less laughing, more awkward pauses. She still says all the right things, only you, I miss you, come back soon, but it's like listening to a song you've heard too many times. You know all the words, but the meaning has gone. Part of me still wants to buy her stories, but nothing seems to line up with what she is telling me. Some days, I almost convince myself, maybe she did just help her friend at the bar. Maybe that Norwegian guy was just a clingy weirdo. But then I remember the lies, the excuses, and the way the stories change when I push hard enough. I will probably go and see her when I go back to Thailand, because that's the sucker I am, but I think that will be the last time I see her. One more chance to pretend this isn't what I know it is. Maybe I'll catch her in another lie. Maybe I'll finally walk away. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll enjoy the fantasy while it lasts. Because once the plane lands back home from Pattaya, reality always kicks in. So gentlemen, that is my story of breaking the 3-day rule. It's an ongoing story, and I'm sure it will end as badly as it started. But, oh how I wish I stuck to some of Pattaya's unwritten rules. All the best.